small as things as such as your time in your circles, being generous with your time, you know what I mean? And watch what happens when you free up a bit of time for yourself to give it to someone else. Test the universe in this way. Free up a bit of time, be unselfish with it, give it to someone else, and then be aware for the universe giving back.
Spaceship loaded.
Welcome.
Yeah. So
Welcome
welcome everybody. I'm here with Mitch Orval and Diogo Giglio. Yeah, got it right.
But you can call me Dieg.
Dieg,
Yes.
the man. I've been super excited for this podcast. We've been talking about it for like a week to like get in and have a good old chat, and we're just going to see like 100% where we go. So guys, strap in and get ready.
Thanks for having us.
And we spoke about this a year ago, I think, in our first run that we came to do.
Like at the mega run in like
Yes.
September or something.
Yes.
Wow, that's
And we
right.
spoke that, but the time was not right. Know what I
Wow.
mean? That's amazing.
You should be that a little bit closer.
Yep.
You can move the mic as much as you like. You can just, if you want to sit back, just whoop whoop and do this.
Perfect.
I generally, you just lean into it
Just
as
lean
much
in.
as you can. Just like full heavy slouch. Just slouch.
Thanks for letting me know. Thank you, guys. Thank you.
That's okay. We just want to hear your beautiful voice.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Well, I think we'll start the conversation because, like, obviously talking to both of you guys and like Deej especially is like Mitch's life is like a movie all the time is what he says to me. Like, seriously, Mitch's life is like a movie and it's just non-stop. I like to just get in some of the stuff at the moment that you think, you know, at the moment has been a little bit movie-like.
Well, it's interesting to hear that philosophy from someone else, you know what I mean? Because I don't see my life like a movie. I see my life like the creation that I make it, you know what I mean? I wake up and I design my days in a way that I love and I always have tried to love. But it's like, it's interesting when you let someone in so closely and they observe and they can observe so purely that you start to hear feedback like that. So I'd like to hear from Deej what parts he thinks it's like a movie.
Yes. What I think, like, to start with, I think we should talk how we met and what happened so people can understand a little bit. Because I know a lot of people get very confused with our friendship.
So true.
So I think it was going to be very good if we
I agree. It'd probably help understand this a bit
Yes,
better, you know what I
understand
mean?
this.
Because you guys are like best friends and I love it
man.
so much. Like
Yes.
all your guys' relationship is like so special. So yeah, for sure.
It is. That's exactly what I'd put it as. It's special. So I think that's probably an important thing to start with. So good call.
100% important, and it's very easy. An immigrant guy, another one that came to Australia to give his very best, to migrate here, bring his family, and all the story that you guys already know, was having a very hard day and a very hard moment in his life. And I believe today was the hardest moment I've ever had. And I was in this coffee place, in this cafe. And in my first 2 years here in Australia, I was not able to meet many people. Only the ones that were at school or at work or randomly, you know how I am, or randomly where I was walking. I go to the supermarket, so I met someone in the supermarket. I go to the pharmacy, so I met someone that I like meeting people. So what happened is I was in this coffee place and I was having a very important conversation that was like life-changing. I said, man, if this guy do this, my life's going to be this way. But if this guy don't do this, my life's going to be 1 million times worse.
Were you chatting to Mitch?
No, I was chatting to this other person.
Okay.
And I said, my gosh, anyway. And then I was talking. So just think, hardest moment in my life in the Gold Coast as an immigrant, talking to another guy about a business thing. And then suddenly
So they were both sharing a hard moment together.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you for understanding. And man, thanks for always explaining what I want to say. He's, you know, he always do this to me, man. Always. Thank you so much. And what happened is, and then I saw this, like, I never seen Mitchell before, because the same way that I never met a lot of celebrities that you guys know. Because a lot of celebrities that I know are from a different culture. You know what I mean? And long story short, and when I saw Mitchell, I never seen him in the videos, even though that I have cousin in Brazil that already seen him. Look how crazy it is. The amount of message that I receive from people all over the world. Man, this guy made me laugh. I know him, and they said, wow. I said, man, he has a superstar energy. He has like something. I didn't know, like, is this like, for a blink of an eye, I thought, is this Justin Bieber? Or is this Justin Timberlake? I don't know, like, it's the energy. I said, who is this guy? And then suddenly I saw the windshield of his car with parking tickets, parking fines. And I said, oh man.
Like how many?
Maybe 3 or 4. And that was my reality, because Australia is the only place I lived that if you park in a place that you cannot park, you can go for 5 minutes. You're gonna come back, ticket. You know what I mean? So it's very common. I said, oh man, you have tickets, because I thought he didn't know. But then he started to laugh. I thought he didn't know, because some people don't know that you have the tickets. And then we just connected. And yeah, man. And long story short, with Mitchell was the first moment in my life that I was able to start a relationship 100% honest about who I am, where I came from, all my mistakes, all my past, where I want to be. And that was the first time, man, that I was able to not only be open up to this, but also made me understand what life is. Because all my problems that I had in my life was because I was not able to have 100% straightforward relationship with someone. An open, an unconditional love that you can just, man, this is who I am. And Mitchell, he healed this on me, accepting me by who I was, putting me in his inner circle. And I said, whoa, so this was always the answer. I just need to be who I am. So what happened next? I started to glow, to flourish, and to really live a better. Today I have a personal trainer, man. I'm gonna let you talk a little bit about this.
That is thank you so much.
No, thank you, man. That's
wow, what a fun. That's the best. I have a personal trainer. That's what I think I learnt with Dieg is gratitude for the small things. You know what I mean? Like, as he explained, the world that I came from, it's so easy to focus on what you don't have. And then the world he came from, it was just about focusing on what you got. So when we met, I was like, he was so inspired by my fruity way of living. And then I was so inspired by his way of living that literally we matched each other and it worked. But what was crazy is like, because the way that we grow up and the way society is, like when we first met, I actually needed an excuse for our friendship. So I went into business first because it was like, what an easier way to explain like who he is in my life than to say when we're in business together, you know what I mean? So we went into business and my gosh, we we went to the desert together. We tried everything for like a few months. We walked and anything that stuck, we just talked, spoke, networked. Like,
I don't know how to make an egg and I decided to go part of a coffee place. I don't even know how to make an egg. Just the next thing I go.
We just ran with life together and we learned so much about each other. And like, it was that part that really like helped.
Yep, 100%. Man, what I can tell you is not only with Mitch, because once you start getting very close to one person, you're also going to be meeting their family and their close friends. So one thing that I saw in Mitchell, and this was extremely healing for me, this is what really brought healing to me, is that not only him, but everyone around him have one rule, come as you are. And that was all I have been waiting my whole life, to be accepted, to be by who I really was. And I can tell that since this day, my life completely changed because I was able to step in who I really was. And I saw growth in my business, in my body, in my mind, in my soul. I believe that as humans, in a very short period of time, you can grow hundreds of years.
Man, it makes so much sense because remember one time I was talking to Dieg and he was like, I was like, oh, do you and Mitch like talk about personal development much or business or whatever? And he's like, all we talk about is personal development the whole time. Wow.
That's only this, man. We don't talk about people. We only talk about personal development and now faith.
Yes,
man.
that's been our biggest one. So I got distracted before where I was talking about what I wanted to finish off. I didn't want to leave that open-ended with the business comment. Why when we went into business together? Because it's like that contradicts that philosophy as such because it's actually something I've really learnt through him. Do you know what I'm saying? Like learning happens through teaching at the same time. So as I learnt to deal with thinking that I needed to go into business with someone and every problem we ever had was only in business, but our friendship flourished 24/7. As you said, all we spoke about was personal development, faith, imagination. Like we're wild where our mind goes, you know what I mean? But it's like, why not? You know what I mean? Like if you find someone that can dream with you like that, why not? And after I took away that stigma of thinking, you know, we had to be in business together, I was like, hey, bro, let's make this purely about friendship. You know what I mean? no, we don't even need to talk about business. And the best thing about that is like a part of this journey is if we become attractive people through our friendship and we're going to attract that success anyway. You know what I mean? So it's like, let's just stop trying to skip the fundamentals. Let's build a relationship together that's honest. You know what I mean? I'll be honest and say like, it's taken me a while, but now it's like, the more like I always say, like, what if your opportunities lay on the other side of all of your judgments? You know what I mean? Like there has to be a reason sometimes you catch yourself judging. You know what I mean? What does that say about you? So I feel like meeting Dieg really unlocked that side of me, and I learned to now just do not judge anyone, anything, you know what I mean? Because why? There's no point, you know what I mean? We're all here for the same reason. We all just want to be accepted for who we are inside, not want to have to put up a shell or to pretend to fit in, you know what I mean? We just want to come as we are and be accepted and loved and understand that, yeah, we're not perfect. Like there's going to be stuff that we have to work on, but all good. As long as you're building in the right direction, aware of it, and, you know, going to get better progressively and constructively, then all good. You know what I mean? We accept.
My man, wow. Do you understand? Do you understand now? Can you, like, wow. You know what I mean? It's every single time with Mitchell, and everyone that knows him is going to say the same thing. You're learning something that you never heard before, or that you heard, but he was able to communicate in a very simple way. And buddy, I lived, as you know, Canada, America, few countries in Europe, Australia, Brazil, and any other culture received me better than this guy as a real friendship. So it's not even about judging. It's about being open for the new things. And why? The reason is that, in my opinion, the reason is that Mitchell is also a connector between Australia and the rest of the whole world, because it's amazing how almost every single Brazilian in this town know him. You know what I mean? And love him.
That's because I'm not the minister of Brazil now.
No, man, it's just...
Tudo bem.
Anyway,
hey, we opened a Brazilian cafe, bro.
Exactly. But that made, like, so you know, it's not only with me. It's about who he is. It's his essence. So he has an essence. Like I always joke, Mitchell, if Australia was going to go in a war with any other country, I was going to send you to go and negotiate
to go help
for Australia. Go help us out.
And I always joke saying, if we go to war, then Dieg, I don't think they'll be letting you make decisions about war. You're the kindest guy on the planet.
Everyone just be loving each other.
Yes.
I'd love to hear some stories that you guys have sort of gone through, like something together that might have been like a bit of an ordeal or something. Dieg, would you mind just turning that mic towards and then like that way a little bit. Yep, perfect.
Perfect, thank you.
Perfect. I'd like to hear like a story about you guys if you've gone through something beforehand.
So many.
As in together.
Yeah.
You tell one and I tell one. Let's go.
If it's like a business.
Well, yeah, as I said, like we opened like a cafe together, but we literally just did it. We were doing that to try see what we could stick together to make. Yep. We were buying time to see how long for our friendship, you know what I mean? And it was like we had like this thing going on, and then it was so quickly how I realized, right? And it's been a repeat pattern in my life, you know what I mean? Business doesn't work out, boom, you move something else. And I was thinking, you know what? Like there was not one thing about business I enjoyed with Diogo. Everything was friendship. All I miss is his friendship. Why can't he still be my friend? And I was just like, that was my ego holding me back from that moment. And as soon as I like accepted him back as just a friend, and then even like it was like my dad asked, "Oh, are you back in business together?" I said, "No, he's just a friend." You know what I mean? And it's like I had to really train that into it, because like it was true. Like I had that judgment at the start with it, and the more that I just lent into that friendship, the more everything that I started to unlock in my life, and I realized that there's a reason for that resistance. Do you know what I mean? And I understood now what it is to judge. It's actually putting the mirror up and looking back in it at yourself. You know what I mean? The things that I was judging was how free his spirit was and how easy he could be himself and all of that stuff and not care. You know what I mean?
Was it like a jealousy sort of thing?
Not jealousy. It's like,
I wish I had that, or like a...
It's an energy. It's an energy. When someone's fully embodied, I'm going to say like deeply, when someone's embodying who they are to true spirit in front of you, in front of everyone, and not even understanding what's going on around them. You know what I mean? Like I have the ability to understand, right? If someone says something and 3 people in the room judge that, you know what I mean? It's like in Diego's life, nothing ever mattered in his world. And I used to say that would sometimes put me in uncomfortable places, but that was my judgment, not his.
What do you mean by that?
saying things, doing things, his personality, do you know what I mean? I find myself getting uncomfortable at times and feeling like I had to sit behind that in business or sit behind that in things. And the more that I understood that was a thing in myself, the more it liberated me into our friendship. And now it's like our friendship is built on, it's insane what it's built on. It's like an honest, loving conversation where it's like, let's grow.
Yeah.
Tell me your fears, tell me your dreams. I'll help guide your fears and I'll help encourage your dreams.
That's so insane, man. Because obviously, as we know, like Dieg's got like he's so open with expressing himself, like totally. One of the first times I met Dieg, we hung out, we went to the beach, we took our shirts off, and I'm on this like entrepreneurial journey at the moment, and I'm just trying to like be the next thing that's going to help like heaps of people to have this burning passion. And I was telling Dieg about it, and I was like, he's like, what's like one of your financial goals at the moment? I'm like, well, this year I want to make $1 million. He's like, okay, let's go to the beach if we're going to breathe. And then we went there, and he opens and he's like, we need 3 big breaths, we'll breathe, and then we're just going to say to the universe what we want. And we're standing on the edge of the beach, and I'm standing there, and he's like, and I was getting ready, and I'm like, I'm going to say one thing, like I'm wanted for myself, and he was going to say a thing that he wanted for himself, and he's like, I want Corey to make $1 million this year. And I was like, oh my God, like trying to receive that. It was overwhelming, bro.
And how
I was like,
refreshing is that, bro, in a friendship?
Wow,
you know what I mean?
man. Thank you, guys. Wow.
It speaks volumes, bro. And I'm so glad, that we all had the ability to meet Dieg, because I can actually see the effect he's had on like Gold Coast and the people of Gold Coast as a culture. Wow. You, me, people like you,
everyone in my program,
everyone in your program.
Wow, buddy.
People. I know people that I've introduced him to. He has changed them. He has sparked an energy in them and an unconditional love in me too, in everyone, and I can feel it. You know what I mean? And that's why I think, honestly, that's why I'm sitting on the podcast today. Is like as you know, I'm not on social media anymore. I don't like, this is about like, I'm happy to sit here and share like what an honest and amazing friendship is, and how it can sometimes look different and not be, you might have questions about friendships and things that sometimes it might not always fit the social constructions you're used to or that have been set out for us. But hey, get used to different, you know what I mean? It can be good.
It's so crazy. And like one of the things as well that Dieg said, even though he's like that as well, is I remember we had a conversation, he's like, my biggest mentor that could ever help me was someone who was younger than me and just breathed self-belief into me, and I wouldn't be where I was like if it wasn't for Mitch. So like, I remember he said that thing to me, and like,
so isn't it crazy how at the same time I was healing myself, I was also healing him.
Healing is a two-way process.
You can teach and you can heal. So it was like I was learning to reserve and deal with my own judgments at the same time as allowing him to liberate himself, and then unconsciously give everyone else permission around him to do the same.
My life completely changed. I'm telling you, all it takes is one person to accept someone in this new nation or in this new type of culture or in this new school. All it takes is one person that is already part of that to accept you, that a completely new energy can come. A completely new thing can come. It's the power of union.
I agree.
That's what I was talking to Mitch. These are 2 different cultures, completely 2 different backgrounds coming together to do what? To bring change.
It'd make magic, man.
I was talking, Mitchell, how many weeks you think would take if all the mankind now was all together, all loving one another in peace, in union? How many weeks would take for them to discover a way for us to live 2,000 years? How many weeks or days? Think about it. Think about it. It's an interesting thought.
Everyone in the world working on it.
Everyone working together in anything. How long would it take to be achieved?
Like with everyone in the world working together.
See, you can't really fathom it because we don't have that sort of union.
I know, it's a big question.
I mean? We don't have that sort of union. But why isn't that possible? Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, culturally, nothing's different fundamentally. Do you know? We realize we're different culturally, but fundamentally, we just want the same thing, to be accepted for who we are. So, like, how different can it get worldwide?
Exactly. Accepted, respected, and loved. This is what every single person want to feel and be. But the problem is that if you never felt this before, it's because you're not being able to be the authentic version of yourself. And I really believe that heaven is when you're not only able... And man, almost everything that I'm talking to you is something that I learned with him. You know what I mean? Like personal, my life before was only working and studying. Was not much stopping to. I knew I was special. I knew I was different. I like until today, like I was 13, I still receive message. I met you in Portugal. Met you in say, wow, they still remember. That's amazing. I knew I carried something with me, but this something was only be able to reach the full potential once I said, okay, I'm gonna start showing. I'm gonna start being who I am. And Australia brought me this healing. And that's why so many immigrants come to here and believe that this is what, Mitchell, what the immigrants say. It's heaven.
Heaven.
So heaven is this.
Any immigrant you stop and ask what their thoughts are on Australia, it's heaven.
Heaven.
Then not only that, go ask them the punish they're going through or had to go through to stay here or be here. We would not call it heaven if we had to do what they had to do to get in. And they still look at it with smiles 24/7.
100%.
Appreciation,
100%.
grateful.
Man, Jesus prayed heaven on earth. Sorry, buddy.
Yeah.
Heaven on earth. You know what I mean? So what does that mean to you, Corey? Heaven on earth.
It's crazy you said that because I had a conversation with TJ. Like TJ came around for ice baths 2 nights ago, and we had a conversation. The main thing we took away was we were just having like mad chats, and he was just like, "Dude, we're literally living on heaven right now. You can choose to live in heaven, or you can choose to live in hell."
DJ,
and like
man.
it's like you're in heaven and hell right now on earth, and you can just choose heaven. We've been messaging each other every morning. We just met each other and just say heaven on earth, bro.
What did Jesus say? Heaven's already here for the meek, for the humble. If you choose to be humble and like think about it, fit in, help everyone, care deeply about everyone and everything around you, you can really create heaven inside your own reality and world. But it's when you deal with those things inside you that eat you away and they make you a worse and a lesser person every day, of course you're going to not show up as the best version of yourself. And of course, eventually you're going to create hell for yourself in your reality because it's ultimately a reflection of what you're going through.
Straight up. And I'd like to actually get into there and get into some of the dark stuff a little bit, because I know you guys have probably got some pretty crazy stories as well. And we talked about fears beforehand, and we talked about how you guys are friends, and you know, you sometimes you help each other through the good times, but you also help each other through like the bad times. Like, what are some of the things that you guys have helped each other with when you guys have been like at your lowest?
I got robbed and he helped me through that a lot.
I was going to say this. Wow, man, this was not robbery. This was like a murder, in my opinion. Someone was getting that to really murder him, I think. You know what I mean? Like trying, like he were really brave. And I don't know how someone can pass through that. And in the next day, for sure, he moved to a 5-star hotel in the Gold Coast. That was very nice to visit your friend in a hotel. Was loving. But at the same time, I don't know how someone can pass through this and in the other day still positive, still know that things can move on. But man, this was one of the hard moments, I believe, seeing him going through this.
Walk me through it. I'd love to hear like sort of like the actual process of it and how you
I'll
guys
actually
support each other.
I'll give you the video. You can put it in to let everyone
I'll actually
go.
put it up.
Yeah.
I see Dieg show me the video, bro, and it makes me feel like
I can't even now talk like thinking about it. Like it was the scariest. Like you can't,
especially as being a dad, man.
bro.
Like,
It's a black swan event, right? But it also prepared me for the unpredictable moments of life. You know what I mean? And like, just to always be prepared and always be ready. I know that sounds silly, but like, as a person, you have to always be prepared for an unpredictable moment and be at the top of your game. Do you know what I mean? And when I mean top of your game, I don't mean overthinking and being silly. It's just having a strong mind and strong integrity and just strong beliefs and morals to get you through those moments, because like I had to forgive the people that robbed me, you know what I mean? It's the only way I've only been able to deal with it is like understand why the situation happened and understand that, you know, he wasn't trying to run me over because he wanted to kill me. He was trying to run me over because he was probably as scared as I was in that point. And he's looking at me in the eye. I'm standing there with a knife looking at him. He's just trying to steal the car. He's looking at me knowing I don't want to kill him. He doesn't want to kill me. It was like a moment of life where you start to really like think, what is all of this? Do you know what I mean? What is all of this ego? What is all of this like fear? All of it. And when I withdrew from the situation and I was able to look at like the video, like the video helped me process it a lot, if I'm going to be honest, because I don't actually think I would have remembered what happened. But when I look back and processed exactly what happened, I've realized, right, I was living a life that was very public, open, unsafe. And when I went through that moment, I realized the only thing I care about is privacy, safety, and my family. So I flipped a massive switch in my life, and it's the best switch that ever went off. So perhaps if that moment never happened, that switch never went off.
What was it like, man, when like you woke up? Because you were like asleep, weren't you?
So it was about 3 a.m. Weirdly enough, I'd woke up at 2:30, got up, took a shit, sat there, and it was weird weather. It was dark, and I was like, I don't know, for some reason I had not a weird feeling, but just
Felt prickly.
Yeah, prickly. Good. Well said. Prickly. And me and my partner stay in separate rooms, but we'd been sick this week, all of us, and we were staying in the same room with a mattress on the floor together upstairs. I had the dogs on my lap. She was next to me in the bed with Artie, and then I just heard a noise downstairs, and I thought, ooh, felt the 2 dogs, and I was like, yeah, what could that be, hey? If there's another one, like, that's pretty obvious because there's nothing else. And then I heard, which turned out to be a handbag chain, drop. And I don't know, I just sprung out of bed and screamed out. And I just heard like doors, gate, fling, had no idea. Then I ran around, seen a guy in the car, turn on it in our front gate. Then I realised my car was blocking him in. So he was in Chloe's car. And I was like... you know what I was actually thinking? Ashton Kutcher was about to jump out from behind the curtains and tell me I was being punked or something because it just did not feel real.
Wow. That's how, Man,
I couldn't imagine, man.
I didn't sleep this night.
I felt sick.
And I didn't even know what happened to you a couple hours after, but I was not able to sleep. You see how people can get connected. I was not able to sleep, and when he showed me that, buddy, I'm going to tell, was one of the worst feelings of my life. Because for a criminal law, in criminal law, this was attempting of murder in a few lives. And I said, wow, so I could lose my best friend. Man, it was very hard for me. And then I saw, like, it's still something that every single time that I go past that street I remember. And it's a terrible feeling. Terrible feeling. So yeah, that was a hard moment.
Having a friend, as you were saying, a hard moment, having a friend like Dieg in a time like that. Can you imagine? Do you know what I mean? That's all you need is like. And my thing is this: anyone who's watching this podcast now or listening that hasn't met him would already understand what that comment means by now.
Wow!
Do you know what I'm saying?
Thank you, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so very much for having me here. Feeling very grateful, Corey. Already, the energy in this room is completely amazing. Corey, thank you for setting up this, for buying this, for putting this together. For the best sparkling water. Thank you, buddy. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you. It's very nice to see men like you. His mission is...
get men like you getting a voice.
Exactly.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. It's like hard to receive.
Receive?
Receive, my man.
So how did you guys like support each other through that? Had you guys like sort of in terms of faith, because you guys know you've been talking about that a lot recently, how did that like bring up?
Well, to be honest, I found God through when I met Diogo. You know what I mean? I remember my whole life I had little miracles and little things that never made sense, little consistencies, little all that, and I realized that the one thing that was missing in that story for it to make sense was Jesus and God. And like I applied it, I filled in the gaps, and my life makes pure sense, and I feel like I feel different. So my thing isn't ultimately right. What I learned and what I lent into anyway was like, even if you were wrong, the worst thing you can learn is to be kind to yourself and be kind to others. So I'm happy to die wrong with those philosophies.
Buddy, wow.
I know he says like, I'm happy to die wrong with those like philosophies, right? But it's like, how you said that was so casual, but that's like powerful.
Yeah, it's like
really powerful.
You know what I mean? It's like you can nitpick and you can pick apart the little do's and don'ts, or you can just look at it as a whole and look at what it's trying to teach you fundamentally and run with the things that you like and care about, and then don't with the things you don't. You know what I mean? I don't go in there, be a student, not a follower. You know what I mean? Don't go in there and recite and think that you have to believe everything someone says. Go in there, learn the parts that reside with you, feel it, lean into it. If you don't, say that's bullshit. You're entitled to an opinion. It's fine. All good.
Yes.
And run with the things that you care. That's your intuition breaking it down for you.
100% real. Like the worst thing in this, one of the worst things are religion. That's one of the worst things. But going back for what you're saying, man, thank you, man, for sharing this. Thank you so much. Wow, that was very special. With Mitchell and his family, you cannot presume anything. Does that make sense? It's such an amazing family, and I think it's a community that you created with you, Chloe, and all the family and the friends. Is like, it's so amazing. But everyone is so aligned and really giving their best to be the best version of themselves that everything can happen, my man. Everything can happen. And the thing is, don't presume with Mitch or with anyone, and just be the best version of yourself. And this is amazing, because when you give this freedom, when you give this space for you to be able to say, hey man, today no. And this, you just see the way that Mitch and Chloe raised Artie. It's in a very respectful way, it's in a very conscious way, respecting who he is. And as a matter of fact, you learn way more with your kid. I'm also a father, than they learn with you.
Oh yeah.
And what do you guys think are some of the things that like prevent you from being the best version of yourself?
It all starts in your thoughts. It's your mind. Like, I believe that you have to design your own days and your own happiness. You know what I mean? It's like, how often do you wait to have a good day? Like, I hope I have a good day, but it's like, why don't you just create a good day? You know what I mean? From the very minute you get up, from the thoughts that go in, from the words that you start listening to, from the conversations you start having, from the way you start treating people, design it. Yeah, and once you start to design it, I feel like you can progress. You know what I mean? And you're not waiting for the wind to blow it. And then it's there. It's laid out. You can see the steps that you're taking. You can see what works for you, what doesn't work for you. But it's so easy to sit back and just blame the macro environment and everyone else around you. It's so much harder to take accountability on yourself and become the better person, and saying, no matter what, even if no one else changes around me, I don't care, because I'm going to fix the problem, which is me.
Crazy.
Wow.
What for you was some of the biggest sort of limiting beliefs or things like about yourself when you could say weren't having the correct thoughts that you had to like overcome internally? Because you've done some pretty crazy stuff. I mean, like, I remember Mitch talking to us when he did the mega run, and we were like racing each other. And you kicked my ass, and I was like, God damn.
We went to the trenches though.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Wow.
It was great.
The perfect time you drink water, just felt to do a little prayer. This is our friendship. It's based on a lot of talking. God, unconditional love, everything that is hearing, please bless this conversation now, that they can speak exactly the amazing words that are going to not only heal ourselves, but other people as well, that you can be here with us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Now we can reply with everything.
Yeah, let's go, baby. And like, you've done some pretty crazy like fitness stuff as well. When you were talking about you doing the you would run every 2 hours.
4x48.
Yeah, crazy.
Wow.
Like, you did that and all these other things, and I'm assuming that was for the purpose of like testing your mind.
Yeah, for choosing help. You know what I mean? Taking yourself there. So I always think, like, if you search for the discomforts of life, they won't look for you. You know what I mean? If you make it hard, because life, whether you like it or not, is 50% good, 50% bad. If you choose what your 50% bad is, and that's what I'd call disciplines, you incorporate your 50% with your disciplines, you're going to choose that 50%, right? And the other 50% is always going to pay off. Whereas if you don't wait and you just go off, let your day unfold, no matter what, you're going to at least have 50%. But most likely when you don't have a plan, it tends to be more, because you set yourself into that negative mindset. You start propelling forward. Nothing's happening for me. Nothing's doing this. This is never going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, you're actually just reflecting the world that's going on inside your head. Whereas, as you can see, when you're in the positive gear and you start creating and looking for opportunities, incorporating the disciplines, which is going to counter those negative feelings that you get, those angers, the sadness, because they're just natural emotions that we all have. Search for your disciplines, and then they don't show up as regrets later on in your days and later on in your lives.
Wow.
And I learned through going
Never
through
heard
the
that one before.
toughest parts, how like good you feel at the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Even with the robbery, like, there's a sense of pride in your heart after that knows that I cared at that spiritual level for my family and caught on fire like that in that moment to protect. You know what I mean? It's like it's a humbling feeling that I now have with me that I get to carry.
Dude, it's so impressive that you just showed up like better than ever before, just like life on the line for your family. Like, I think any
family. He's a family man. He's family first and any other thing.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Even
He needs to,
before our friendship.
Yes.
And this is why I love about Dieg, what he said, don't assume. Do you know what I mean? Because we can organize things, do things, stuff like that. But if something, like if I have to go back, or I want to go back to my son or to my partner, sorry, buddy, all good. You know what I mean? Yeah. It is what it is. And he understands. And he
Man,
accepts.
not only understand, but make me trust him even more. You know,
Because being integral to his like
integral to the ones that he's saying, man, man. My relationship with Mitch is very amazing. The reason why it looks like that is a movie, I'm just gonna give you one example. Hey, buddy, I'm not gonna be on social media anymore. I said, what do you mean? Like, you're not gonna be on no. And then in the next day, until today, he never been. He never even touched it. And I say, Mitch, you should at least go check your message, bro. You might have so much money sitting there. No, all good. So that's just, so imagine the things that happen without the social media. Like, it's like these, like
Do you see how that can happen? Because you were able to give me faith. Like, you can't see how if you don't have faith in something higher, you would look at that as an opportunity that's shut. I've closed that door. Now that nothing else is going to come to me. But when you incorporate faith into that situation and realize that everything that's meant to you is going to come for you anyway, that isn't a closed door. I've just redirected. It's going to come elsewhere. I'm just building to the next direction.
Wow. And it's not only this, he doesn't have a SIM card on his phone. So you're only able to, like, it's very different lifestyle. Like, can you believe that sometimes his partner calls me to talk to him? Hi, Dieg, are you with Mitch? To talk with Mitch? And I said, oh my God, yes, he's here. And look at the lifestyle. He doesn't have a SIM card. His phone only works when he's in the Wi-Fi and when he's in a good mood. Because if it's not in the best, not in a good mood for the phone.
Yeah, I just have boundaries with my phone now.
Yes, that's funny, man. That is so funny.
especially ones that are aligned with you as well.
Yeah, it's just like I'm not using the device now. I'm not letting it use me. Whereas it swallowed me for so long.
To get close to him, you need to see him physically today, personally. That's what I think. So, Mitch, my question for you, I have a question for him here that I would ask. Buddy, so how you do now to connect with people? Like, imagine if someone wants to connect with you. How you do it?
He has this Brazilian friend.
No, I
has
know,
the
but
best energy.
but I also am limited, like in the goal. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, yeah, the best. Thank you, man. Thank you so much, Carl.
Yeah, I think you nailed it to one degree. And then the other degree is I always feel like you attract what's meant for you. You know what I mean? So if you focus on personal development, the rest will come.
I think it's weird that like I've run into you guys so many times.
See?
Just a heap
So many times. Do you understand?
like so many times.
So
I can't
many
tell
times.
people how many times we've just run
We were
into-
together
run
in
into you guys.
Sokori. We were together in Sokori.
Yeah, I keep seeing you everywhere. Like both of you guys, crazy. Even the gymnastics that night, I was like, wow.
Wow, what?
Like, what?
Until today, my ankle is recovering. Gymnastics never again. He's very good in gymnastics.
He's so
what?
good. I
Very
never met
random.
anyone else that could do flips. I was like,
Buddy.
this is the best time of my life. This is
But it's
Yeah,
fun.
you're a
like-
freak too.
yeah, we're having so much fun, bro. It's nuts.
Yes. No, buddy, when you have a friend that you really love, uplift, and you want to be the best version of yourself, as we always speak about this, every single time I see something new about him, a new talent. It's an amazing journey.
He's so talented. Hey?
No, you have no. Man, can you sing?
Like so talented.
No. Oh, sorry. Man, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry. Okay, I'm buddy. They sing really well. I'm telling you.
I cannot sing.
No, that's why he says.
Yeah,
that's why
this
he says,
EP that I had a few years ago.
Okay. Anyway, buddy. Anyway, here we go. Fire in the hole.
Well, what do you guys think are like some of the best ways for people? Because I'm just like talking to the audience here for a second. In terms of just like some practical tools, because you guys just like, from my point of view, are just so good and so, I would say, just uplifted and like goals. You know what I mean? Look at you guys thinking goals, and it's not like a financial success point of view. It's literally like where you guys are at in terms of like you've prioritized yourself, you prioritize the right things. Wow. And for the people who sort of, I sincerely mean that. And like for the people who desire that, like what would you, and can't get there, what are some things that you'd like say to them or like encourage them to do or think about to sort of start taking steps forward?
I think, like, personally speaking, and I'll always say personally speaking now, it all comes down to what I think is your personal philosophy. So it's understanding what your moral compass resides with and how it feels. Do you know what I mean? Not necessarily conforming that to those around you or to society or to anything. It's like, hey, let's be real. Like, what do I like about myself? What don't I? Let's get a gauge on what can change, what can't. I should probably stop doing this. I'll probably feel better about myself. Get your moral compass to a point where you're happy that you're proud of a decision or decisions getting better every day, and not restricting yourself to those around you and everything else. And I feel like that's where we go wrong, is we don't really have a personal philosophy. It's more of a general philosophy or a shared one. Whereas all of my progression and work happened when I went inwards, completely inwards. Do you know what I mean? Like that's how shut off I am from things and people now. It's like you are your own source of information, of creativity, of everything. So the more time you spend with yourself and inwards and not caring about everything else around you, you will start to get happier.
Dude, do you know what's crazy? I was messaging Mitch this week and I was just asking him some questions. And I was just asking him questions about life. And he was like saying all of these like things. And I was just like, I was like digging around just like, oh, I'm curious about this guy's mind. And he's saying all of these philosophies about all the stuff that I study and put in my course. And then he was like, oh, I haven't studied anything. I was like, that is insane, dude. Like literally some of the stuff was almost like word for word while I was reading it like, oh, that's like a Dostoevsky sort of thing. Or this is like this. Crazy.
Buddy, never. Yeah, this is insane. We were talking about this yesterday, about this.
And that's like, and once again, I'll say it, that's like having faith in yourself, you know what I mean? Like you are your source of creativity, information, everything. Like believe in it, truly. Like,
or just like something fall off my shoulders. Just holy shit.
And that's my advice to someone listening, you know what I mean? Like I heard a saying like, never tell your dreams to small-minded people, you know what I mean? And it's so true. Like that dream, maybe it's so grand because it's only meant for you to be able to see. Maybe you're the only person that can complete it. So stop sharing it with people around you that are going to crush it and just go after it. Like we all have one somewhere that sits there, you know what I mean? And it's like,
that is true.
Get the confidence in yourself and the self-belief, because at the end of the day, I feel like society and the way it's set up now is it's made a search for validation and the dopamine effects of sharing the journey and caring more about the validation of the journey than anything else. Whereas it's like when you go inwards and you actually take care of the journey, you end up with the rewards and not just the awards.
Dude, so many people that I coach just want to know if they're on the right path and they just need that like, yes, validate you, acknowledge you. So that is like,
you just want to ask,
a superpower.
Like, it's not like, yeah.
But he is a mentor. He has people paying him to mentor them. I'm one of them. You know what I mean? And that's, Mitchell, would you like to talk a little bit about the mentorship?
Well, it's just, once I said, it's another natural thing that just progressed.
That came in your life.
Happened.
Yeah.
Like I just go inwards, do my stuff, and I started to attract circles and networks, and then I offered mentorship with Dieg, and then someone else, and now I'm like, you know, helping people guide their personal philosophies, and they're people that are like really interesting, amazing people doing well. That it's like, it's really fun for me. It's, as I said, it's teaching and learning at the same time.
And he's always combining any type of thing that he do related with business. Mitch is always combining with where the world is going. Crypto, NFTs, ENS domains. Like it's very nice to also be Mitchell's friend, because I learn a lot about where the future is going. And he tells me like stuff 6 months ago that is happening now. I said, wow, it's amazing.
How do you stay aware
He's
of
a
that?
tech guy. He's a geek.
I'm a
People
geek.
don't realize he's a real geek.
I'm a big geek. That's the
Yeah,
other thing.
people don't realize this. You know what I mean?
Always was when I think about it too. My first ever job was on, like, when I was 13 or 14, I was on YouTube ripping videos off LimeWire, off TV, screen recording, getting AdSense checks in the mail. Like, I was always a geek. So the blockchain was made for me.
I love that.
That is
Can we
amazing.
get into that a little bit? Like,
Oh,
what's
man.
like?
This-
How you wear all the things? Like, what do you do? What do you look at?
Bring it on.
It's a cult. You follow the culture, you know, culture and the money. And I don't know, bro. I have like, it's like, you can, I don't know. Maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe these are more of a feeling for me then. But I have like a feeling to be able to read a situation and know if it's got legs or if it doesn't. And I think it's from being in a viral world for a long time, where I used to even be able to, before I put up a video, roughly in my mind know what sort of views it was going to get based on how engaging I was or how funny it was or whatever. I could guess in my mind to the exact views and stuff like. So it's a lot of like,
Your intuition comes from patterns. That you've learned.
Yes,
So
well said.
You've figured out the patterns at a young age,
well said.
and it's been honed into a skill.
Yeah.
And now you just trust
You've
yourself.
probably just helped me understand it. Pattern recognition in like culture and social trends that I can perceive value in and see value in. And it's like, wow, and then you just have to put your chips down on yourself. And when you're so confident in who you are on the inside, You don't care. Like, you're not even, it's like not tips. It's not relying on getting feedback or information. It all comes from within. So your belief on when you do it or you're doing, like, it's always there because it's so from within. Does that make sense? And even if you get it wrong, you can live with it because it's my choice, my decision. I was wrong. Someone else wasn't. Then you can shift the blame and jump to the other resentments, and then you can see how the cycle happens, can't you?
Yeah.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah.
Woo! That's it, man. When you're in the right way, right direction, your life's gonna take change that you never imagine. Never imagine. Like, imagine if 5 years ago someone would tell that you were gonna be sitting here in this podcast with me, Corey, talking that you're a mental.
Yeah. Talking that I was mental or
At the Coachella, yeah, at the Coachella festival.
It's like maybe a bit
That
of
is
both.
fun. No, like,
But there's
wow.
there's a method to madness, you know what I mean?
Wow, we can actually have a completely brand new life on a blink of an eye if you want.
Yeah.
We have the ability to, like, especially in Australia, I can say no to everything
love
I
how
build.
much you love
and I
Australia, bro.
do you not, man?
Makes me feel so at home when,
Gonna give
when
you
you
an
love
example.
it. Every time you love Australia, I'm like,
Look how I'm feeling
fuck
now.
yeah.
But this is heaven. This is the new United States and the best empire that is coming in a very kind way where people like us. This is how I see. But man, like this girl came to me and said, "Hi, Dieg, it's been very hard for me to find what I'm grateful for today." I said, "You have an Australian passport." Think about it. This is a huge thing. It's 20-something million people in the whole world.
yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, we can change our lives quickly in a blink of an eye. Every single, you don't need to sleep and wake up again. You can just do this now every single second. So here, I can change career. I can go do anything. And I know people in Australia that only run and make such a good living. I never heard about this before. You know what I mean? Like, you can be, what? To tell this yourself, he's only running? And like, does that make sense? And he's making such a good living, beautiful, but it's amazing. It can be anything you want here. If you put your heart, if you have the right people or like with you, you're going to be able to.
I think in Australia, I'm pretty like passionate about it, is like we're in this beautiful, and it's like, you could say privileged country for sure. Like, we're so privileged. Island, yeah. But the hardest thing for like us to do with this overwhelming amount of opportunity, what I find a lot of Australians sort of go, is that they're like, well, what do I do? And then they get stuck.
So true. Too much choice. Well, that's the thing. Humans are the only things on earth that have the dignity of choice, right? And we're the only things that don't reach our full potential.
Wow. Whoa. But I don't know how. 99% of this here is new information for me. Know what I mean? It's always this way. It's always something new. Know what I mean? Always, because we are endless. We can have access to a source of endless knowledge. That only the eternity is the space time that's going to be able for us to become perfect. It's going to be forever, Corey. One day I want to have a 1 million year conversation with you on a golden river. Okay.
Yeah, boy.
Are we going to have a 1 million one?
1 year. What was it?
1 million.
1 million year conversation long on a golden river.
We will. Imagine, time is not, man, I'm so excited.
Tell me right now, incorporate that faith into your daily life and tell me why that doesn't take you places. If you can imagine that you can have a million year long conversation on a golden river, well, then you can really see the things to be grateful for in a day, can't you?
Wow, thank you, man. Thank you so much.
It's almost hard to comprehend.
Thank you so
I just want a
much.
highlights reel of Corey going,
Just all that. All of those. Thanks for the mind blown moments, guys.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Corey. Corey,
It's
thank
mind-blowing
you.
moment.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
let's just say to George, my editor, he after you guys said that, he's going to be like, done. He's stopped now and already started.
Yes, wow. Guys, I have a question for you and
Yeah.
a question for you now. It's important in the moment that I'm in my life now. Corey, what does it take for a man like me? Because I don't consider myself having a real partner before my life today.
Is it in relationship?
Yeah, about relationship. Because I think the men really need to give everything that they are to really be able to become the best version, decide to be with a woman. And I see you two, I think we're the two guys in town that I see treating the best, their partners. And I was going to tell this to you guys. So I want you guys to look one another now. Guys, you guys are the best ones that I've seen, the way you guys treat your partners.
Mate.
You know what I mean? So I would like to hear Corey and Mitch. Share this.
let's hear from Corey a bit. Let's
Share Corey.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for listening to these podcasts and applying these concepts to your life and sharing these with all your friends and on your stories. I am seriously so full of gratitude. I am currently experiencing one of the best phases of my life, and I just want to share this with you.
If you know someone, or if you're a man who is at that stage of your life where you're unclear with what to do next and you are self-sacrificing to help everyone else, saying yes to everything, doubting yourself, suffering from imposter syndrome, or you can't find your purpose, so you're constantly distracting yourself with hobbies, working too much, other distractions, or a partner or an ex, we are running a group coaching program for ambitious men called Overcome the Chaos for you, especially if you are someone who wants to network with other professionals, get support, learn the tools, and stop holding yourself back from becoming the best version of yourself. The first half of life, the scariest thing is living at your full potential. The scariest thing at the second half of life is never actually taking the leap. So please send me a message on Instagram saying ready, or apply through my website, CoreyBoutwell.com, and we'll point you in the right direction.
Well, I'll relate mine a lot to the hero's journey, and I do a lot of study that in my programs and stuff. So I think about that, analyze it, and be like, okay, how can I apply that to my life? Because I believe that the hero's journey is the art of prediction. If you know where you're at in your hero's journey, you know what to do next. Because if otherwise you get stuck at a certain part of your life where it's like, you know, a call to adventure, and it was something that, you know, you really wanted to do, but instead you're doing some trade that you don't really like doing. And you're just like, well, I'm going to go here instead of, you know, being a singer, if that was the thing you want to do. You've never taken the call to adventure. You're never going to mature into the next step of the hero's journey. And people will stay there forever. And one thing that I learned and knew about myself and how I felt with some of the relationships that I had was like, why do I feel like I can't 100% commit to my partners? And it was all internal, like to do with me. I was like, I'll commit 99%, but that's a bitch. You know what I mean? 100% commitment is a breeze. So I was like, well, firstly, I have to practice this and get really good at being a partner and like learning the skills for how to do it. But I need someone that's going to be a reflection of me. Otherwise, I'll never be able to commit 100%. So I need to like work and be on the best version of myself in order to call that in. And who doesn't want like a really good intimate relationship with someone that you love? Everyone, man. Everyone. Like I was like, I need that in my life. And instead of and I deserve it. And I'm like, I'm not going to die without having the best relationship that I've ever like created. Bro. Yeah, thank you.
Wow.
So glad we asked you first.
Yes, wow.
So what I did was developed everything possible to be like the best partner. I'm like, okay, like having everything like that you truly desire and thinking that you can't get it is just a limiting belief. So I'm like, okay, I just need to start doing everything that I can. I want to be the fittest, most jacked, healthiest person ever. I want to live an extremely long time. I want to be completely time, locational, financially, so free to the point where I have so much money that I will be able to like give me the money because I'll be able to, I trust myself so much that I'll be able to do what to do with it, right? You know what I mean? I want to educate people and buy heaps of land and say the stuff. That's what I want to do. Give me the money. I'll sort it out. So I'm doing everything that I can to do that. I'm 100% connected and committed to my purpose, which is to inspire ambitious men by consistently overcoming myself. And I know that deeply to the core. I know what I'm doing from now until the age of like I'm 80 years old. When I grew up as a kid, my dream and my goals was to be a singer, dancer, and actor. And I'd been on TV shows, I'd been on like movies, you look
like Superman. You're Superman. Superman.
I'd been lead roles in theater productions and all these things, and then it all just got slammed in my face when like my parents split up and like went in school and started working doing a trade like for my old man, and we like almost boxed on. We almost ended our relationships. Like we were so bad, but we ended up getting out of that and like. Now we're the best friends. Like my dad is my best friend, straight up.
The fact you can talk about it proves that, you know what I mean? Otherwise you wouldn't share.
Oh yeah, bro. We were so frustrated. Like he broke down and crying in front of me one day, just like, I don't want to be here. I'm done, like being a dad and everything. Like I just literally want to die. And I was at that time, I thought, good.
Wow.
Like that's how bad it was at this time. I was like, good, you deserve that. Like it was so hectic, but we got out of it.
Congratulations.
Well done.
And good on him too.
You're best with it. Yeah, wow.
So I'm going a little bit of a whim here, but all this hectic shit happened and I was like, okay, well, I need to get out of that, learn everything. And then I did. And then I was like, okay, I really want a good relationship because I'd have all gone through the stuff, been cheated on, all that stuff and like not committing. And it's like, well, that's a result of myself because I didn't 100% commit. So obviously how could she, you know what I mean? And then anyway, when I worked everything out and knew exactly what I was doing and moving forward, I was like, okay, let's start being that person. So I started being that person and understanding everything. I was like, cool. And I also want to learn lots about relationships because intimate relationships are really going to work with business relationships, friend relationships, everything like that. So I went absolutely deep right down the rabbit hole. Yeah. And thank you so much for saying that. And then like dove deep real down. And then I figured out exactly what I wanted in a girl. Like exactly like to the T, wrote it all down. And I was like, I can provide this support. Like I've said this on a podcast with Chloe beforehand. I was like, I don't care if she has like a terrible relationship with her dad, because my masculine energy is so strong that I can hold space for her for that. And we have like together, we've grown so much together. We've been together for a short period of time. And I'm so proud that I went through and worked all that stuff, because I have held like the best space for her. And she is just flourishing at the moment, like just leaps and bounds growing. Like,
even if you don't work on that, it's just going to show up in a different relationship in a different way anyway. So it's like your whole life, bro, you're probably getting the girl that you wanted, but because you didn't know who you were, you ended up getting it and not realizing that's what you didn't want, but just because you didn't know yourself.
Nailed it.
Wow. But see how once again that shows how powerful our minds are. What we think and what we create, we get. But usually pay attention to what you're thinking and what you're creating, because sometimes your reality is there, but it's just a direct reflection of actually your thoughts and how you see the world and how you're perceiving what's going on around you and what you're highlighting as just problems instead of... You know what I'm saying?
Wow. I love seeing people's reaction when he's teaching. It's
crazy.
It's amazing. I have the same... Oh, man, with you, the same thing. How long have you been with Chloe?
It's been... Well, we met each other in November, so it hasn't even been that long. So
How
we
long
met each
have
other
you been with Chloe?
6 years. Over 6 years.
That's amazing.
Crazy. There's one thing that I just want to mention to you, Dieg, and one thing that I knew and understood in terms of like the success that like either I wanted to get and want to achieve in my life and stuff. So I was like, I need a girl to keep me accountable. There is nothing better like in the hero's journey in terms of like something to keep you accountable than a girl. It is a personal development ceremony 24/7.
Oh yeah.
Every second that you're being shit off yourself, not aligned with your purpose, one thing, she'll smell it.
Oh,
and they'll tell you.
Because they discern spirit.
Yeah.
Women
Women
and they love you for
wow.
your soul. That's it. So
My
when
mom calls me when I'm in the best, worst. My mom? Like they know. Women know.
How much do you love your mom?
Guys, cannot even express how much I love my mom. I love my mom so much, but so much that I would share my remaining life with her. I would give her half, and so I could get, or I would give her 80%, and I would keep 20 because I want to live a bit more. You know what I mean? That's what I was. I love my mom so I don't know how to explain. How much you love your mom?
It's a lot, but hearing it in words like that, bro, it's you know what I'm saying.
Thank you.
That's crazy.
And now I want to hear Mitch. Thank you, bro. That helps. Gonna help me so much. That makes so much. It's the school of character.
I believe, like for me personally, I was like, I can't reach my full potential or my purpose without like my partner. So
Yeah, I agree.
I was like, get in
Everywhere,
there, hold you accountable.
the person I am today has been from being invited up from Chloe, my partner, not your partner. My partner invited me up.
You got two
For
Chloes
anyone
there.
watching, my partner's Chloe too.
I'd say like, yeah.
Chloe Zap. That's how I call her.
That's it. And I think like that's part of like a relationship is learning what parts of yourself you have to sacrifice for love and to make it work, and to understand that you're going to have two imperfect people that just need to commit to get better and work together, and it's possible.
How like I'd love to hear about some of the moments where like Chloe's actually like helped you elevate. If there's like a couple like a big ones that you may not have thought, like you haven't talked about recently.
Everything from my like sobriety to my habits, between like getting healthy, between wanting to live, between wanting to be a better father, between everything, bro, it inspired from her will and want to always.
How'd she do it? I'd love to hear
She's always cared, bro, so much deeply about everything else around her and the big picture. Do you know what I mean? She's never been a short picture dopamine chaser, or you know what I mean? It's always like down to her essence and down to her heart, what she wants long term, what she feels, everything. Like she cares a lot, and she cares enough to learn, you know what I mean? And she fed herself full of knowledge. She understood herself quite, like she's still only 23, bro, and she's about to have her second kid in the next 2.5, 3 weeks. I reckon he'll be due. So we're going to have 2 boys. She's 23. Man, it's a lot, right? It's a lot.
2 boys, two dogs, a partner, family, company, and she's one of the women maybe that paid more bills to me in my whole life. She's very kind and generous. Okay, I got your breakfast, I got your lunch. She's very nice. You know what I mean? That's amazing. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Are you two both like huge givers, like you and Chloe?
Yeah.
Oh, buddy. I'm sad I forgot a few stuff that I could be wearing. That means 80% of my people don't realize that most of my clothes come from Mitchell.
People do that fix it. Yeah, sorry, I think I pulled it out.
Does that work?
Yeah, that's better. Sorry,
thank you so much.
Pulled it out, ripped my ear.
Yeah, man. Very big giver. Very big giver. Always giving. His whole family always giving and always coming back as well. They receive and give. It's a very beautiful thing.
It's crazy.
Very beautiful and very generous. I don't think like Mitchell and I'm gonna talk about Chloe as well. I don't think Mitchell. Yeah, I think I just respect them so much, man. Because he respects me a lot as well, more than any other man. But man, I don't think they understand about numbers and like as we do. They have a different type of mindset. Does that make sense?
How so? Like,
they are not attached to money or numbers at all. And that's when things comes. It's a different lifestyle with my background that 1 + 1 is equal to and -1 and plus 0.1 and I said, wow, what a different lifestyle. And since I started doing this, my financial life got much better.
It's
Does that make sense?
Mindset.
Abundant mindset.
and how does that like look like in terms of how you speak, how you think?
It's just believing, right, that what you spend and what goes out, if it's got, think of your intention behind your spending. When you're spending, what's the intention? I bet you people are going, Think about where you spend your money as an energy. Don't look at it as a currency, look at it as an energy. If that's going with good intention, watch it come back to you. But if it's going with, check where the intention's going and then see what you're receiving on the other end. When I started to spend and do things and live abundantly for a greater purpose than myself, I attracted it. It attracts, and it's hard to say, but it's a vibration and it's a frequency that you can align yourself on, and it can start, and it's also relative, mind you. Do you know what I mean? It can start by small as things as such as your time in your circles, being generous with your time. You know what I mean? And watch what happens when you free up a bit of time for yourself to give it to someone else. Test the universe in this way. Free up a bit of time, be unselfish with it, give it to someone else, and then be aware for the universe giving back, and watch. And it always does somewhere along the line.
Have you got a story? Have you got a story?
Oh, so bro, he doesn't tell a story, but that's for sure he does.
How many?
Just maybe a recent one a year ago or something where you've just like consciously been like, okay.
But
it's every day.
So my job now, like my thing was, I went into like, I invest in tech, right? I didn't want to work again. I wanted to keep investing and let my assets work for me. I was like, I can't work forever, but my assets can, you know what I mean? I don't like working. I realized that. I don't want to have employees. I don't like a phone, you know what I mean? So how can I have a job like that? I had to find a way to create an income for me, you know what I mean? Based on investing in the things that I loved, which was tech. Bro, from personally developing now, I have an income from a job that is like this. I get to talk and heal people that I care about already and like, because they're such amazing and interesting people, and I get paid for it now. It's like, wow. I was doing it anyway. Like I attracted that. I never set out to learn this stuff to become a mentor, but the universe rewarded me with the compensation of doing the work.
So let's just do what you love.
Do what you
do
love.
What you love.
And
do in his case was
authentic,
helping
like,
teaching
and make sure, like, rain check yourself on the intent behind it too. You know what I mean? Like if you can have a really good positive intention behind it, align it with something that gives you a bit of a drive and burn inside, and go after it.
That comes back to being judged, because the people who don't do it are the ones who are scared of being judged. Which
you
is
can
why
understand why, bro. You can understand why. Like we grew up, we're surrounded by fear and judgment. So you can understand why people are scared to go do it and go get after it. But the best thing you can do is try find yourself at least one close friend that you believe in fully and they believe in you fully. And I also believe like the secret is a really good partner, because at the end of the day, when shit goes wrong, which it does, you really do want someone that you can come home to and trust. Like, even though, like, you know, sometimes they can be the point of your problem, but still at the end of that day, they're the person you confide in. So it's like,
wow. Dude, I have like a question. I hope it's going to be a good one. What is some of the most like powerful conversations that you've had with Chloe?
Wow, that was a very good, man.
Oh, we've had all of the conversations you can imagine.
I'd love to hear about one you can remember.
Well, Chloe told me a year and a half ago that she didn't love me anymore. And I felt that, you know what I mean? And it was like, it was a moment of my life where I realized at that point, right, the reason that she didn't love me was because I'd never told her I did.
Oof,
so it took until that point, right? She still talks about it today, that when she told me she didn't love me was the first time in our relationship she felt that I truly did.
Wow.
What was it like when you told her you loved her, bro? Like for you, was it scary?
So scary, bro. So scary. And
Leaning
now I
into
tell her every day.
vulnerability.
It's like, and it took like almost to have it pulled out from under me in my eyes to realize, holy shit, why am I standing here with this ego when I do not want to lose this? And the things that are holding me back from this relationship is just myself.
Can you tell us when you first told her you love her? Do you remember the story?
When I first told her that I loved her,
yeah.
when I first told her I loved her was when I asked her out with these shoes. I think people would probably still remember this, but I wrote I bought her a pair of white Nikes and I wrote on the box, I Nike you. Let's make it official. And then, I was...
Wow. Nice. That was fun. That was cool. Wow, buddy. Wow.
Yeah, I
wow.
really like
wow.
that.
Wow. Amazing.
Yeah. Is there any other powerful conversations that you guys have had that you think of like
Man.
ones that helped elevate you?
Tell them when yesterday in the living room.
See, I can't even remember what the one
Yeah.
yesterday was.
What was
our,
it?
our
Chloe, she sits
relationship is just like honest growth, you know what I mean? And it's like, sorry, bro.
No,
does
it's all
that
good.
change?
It's fine.
It's just honest growth, and like we're far from perfect. You know what I mean? That's the best thing we've learnt. I think we both, for a long time in our relationship, pretended that we were both perfect individuals, and then like we ended up resenting each other for our imperfections. You know what I mean? Whereas now it's like we're two imperfect people, but we realized our morals and our intent is exactly the same. We just want to have an amazing life. We love our kids more than you can. Like, we just love. That's all we care about. You know what I mean? We just want to create as much time as we can and be tied to nothing else so we can enjoy what we've got and our family, you know what I mean? And when we realize that those intentions are set, at the end of the day, we're going to have our differences, but if we can come together and realize that we're still aligned for that sole purpose, well, we can get through anything. And that's where we've really started to, like literally since that moment has just been nothing but up. And now we are both like, we're just both so happy and confident as individuals. And when we come together, it's like we get to be exactly who we are and guide each other and be there for each other. And it's like, it's an interesting dynamic. It's not your exact relationship you'd be used to, but it's like the amount of growth that goes on in our lives because of it is amazing. And I don't think you'll find two people that when you pull back everything, care about each other deeper at the deepest point, because the moments that we've stayed through together, it takes a really deep soul connection to ride out some of the things that we have and some of the moments for so long.
And since
still
she was
come
18,
out, and
17.
still come out right with everything that we wanted.
Whoa. Wow. Corey, are you understanding?
Yeah.
What I tell you more? Are you understanding a bit more? No, this is know what I mean? Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for allowing this space that I can, because a lot of people that got to know Mitchell through me in the online space are going to understand much better what I tell about him, only hearing what the things I has to share. And that's what I think, man. I just would like to share a memory here, like one of the many memories. So since I met Mitchell, I was never putting myself in any uncomfortable situation. I was always very like saunas or ice baths or running. Like I was always living in my own world with my comfortable way. You know what I mean? And like was very comfortable. But since I met him, he has been putting me to learn in a lot of uncomfortable situations like sauna and so many other things. And I just would like to say thank you that even though that it's very hard sometimes because everything is very new for me, he's always there, being patient, respectfully, and very uplifting. Thank you, buddy, for everything. I'd like you to know this. Just to share this here. No, it's only gratitude here, man. Only gratitude in my heart for him. And if someone ever even think about doing anything wrong with Mitchell, I am part of 230 million people.
I just thought of that scene in Fast and Furious. This is Brasilia.
Hit the whole of Brazil on one text message.
Mitchell already seeing the power of the community. Mitchell, quickly we can move everyone. So good.
Amazing.
Wow, thank you, man. Thank you so
Crazy.
much. Australians are the best.
Yeah, and I recognize that in you too, Dieg, like especially when you come for the ice bath that day, and like,
and
he got like he put one foot in the ice bath, and he just goes, "What?" He's like, "What? You can't tell me it's that cold." Like, yeah, bro.
And he was in my ear. it's only a sensation. Until the day, I remember your voice. It's only a feeling, only a sensation. And I was like, man, I'm almost dying.
That sounds so nice. I didn't put me to sleep. I was like,
No, we're on the podcast. I'll bring you back.
Amazing.
Dude, it's crazy. And like one thing that I'm extremely passionate about as well, which I think you guys lead by example, is I'm so passionate about this, is like dudes being able to feel their emotions and process them. Like I think this is like one of the biggest things, and we like teach it in the course and we go through a bunch of stuff. And it's like, obviously it's unbeknownst to us because we're supposed to go out, hunt, kill, do all these things, primitive style stuff, when women traditionally, like, they feel feelings that we'll never be able to feel.
Yeah.
Right? They're so intuitive and they do that. Our whole thing with life is like, I have to find meaning before I die. Theirs is just, so we're always like fighting death. And theirs is always, this is all from my perspective, theirs is always like, everything's out of love and they don't care about it.
feeling space.
Yeah, right. And like all my friends and like all the guys I talk to, everything's always like, you know, what am I most scared of? Dying. Girls, what are you most scared of? Not loving and being loved enough.
Wow,
Wow, that's so
Crazy.
true.
And so many, like, I'm so passionate about like guys not being able to like feel their emotions and being vulnerable and open. I know anyone listening right now, if they have struggled with that, probably listen to you guys and just been like, holy hell, like these guys understand, they can go through, they can process their emotions and all
It's
these
your
things.
habitual emotions that run your life. You know what I mean? You can't escape them. You're going to have all of your emotions every day. You just need to like learn how to navigate them and process them. And that's the other thing, is being supported and feeling like it's okay to feel them. Like we're taught to suppress anger, suppress sadness, don't do these things. But feeling and letting the emotion out is so much better than suppressing it and holding it inside physically. Do you know what I mean? Even on an energy level, like you can see the difference it makes when you speak even something, a conversation, and let it out.
Crazy.
Wow.
How do you guys do it? What was your guys' journey into like opening up and being able to like go through and move through your emotions, and what were the catalyst like moments?
Never stop. It will never stop. Right? So that's the best part about understanding it. Hey, it's like we are just emotional people. Our emotions are gonna, as you say, they're gonna navigate and control our life. So you just have to be aware of them. And I think that was a comment you made to us when we walked in. You said like, in the first 5 minutes, you said, I can't believe how aware you two are. Your awareness is so noticeable. And I think that is the key to it, is being aware of your emotions and being aware of why you're always reacting. Is it coming from fear? Is it coming from love? Like, because reacting in anger, right? When you react in anger out of fear, there's a different thing. But when you react out of love, there's also a different scenario. So understanding, right? Like, for instance, I had my son, like I showed him into the sauna because he was so curious what I do in the room. I opened the thing, he went in, it's warm in here. And then he went to touch the hot rock. And I went, don't! Looked down, got so upset with me. He thought he got in trouble. But I had to teach him that emotion, right, was my fear. I wasn't angry at you, Artie. I was scared you were going to burn your finger on the rock. So when I sat down with him and he understood, right, that I wasn't angry at him. He wasn't mad because he touched the rock. I had to help process his emotion of my anger came out of fear of you burning your finger on the rock. So when I got him to process that, and then I processed that feeling, all of a sudden he dealt with it and he was okay.
Wow.
So awareness of the emotion. See how kids can teach you that things? So if he didn't react right, if he had just gone, and potted off with it, I wouldn't have even known that I had acted in that manner. But when you have someone that you care and love so much as your son, your 2-year-old son who's never done anything but show you unconditional love, and then you're faced with that demon and beast that's come out of you, well, you're forced to either, that didn't happen, or you can sit down and process it and speak it through and try get awareness of the situation and understand where it come from. And at that point, it's a beautiful thing. My anger didn't come because I don't like him. It came because I was scared he was going to burn his hand on like a hot rock, which is a nice thing to have the emotion for. But everyone in this scenario just had to process that first.
Wow, it's all about the intention behind the action, the feeling.
Yeah,
Wow,
and
very
I
good.
think what's real powerful is
Well
is just being aware of the emotions, right? Which obviously
awareness.
a lot of men find like it hard to do, or hard to think or process.
And usually before we feel a hard emotion or think of a hard emotion, we distract, because that's what we have dopamine so available to us, whether it's vaping, whether it's scrolling, whether it's anything for quick dopamine, gambling, drinking, like anything you can get a little dopamine hit and distract from an emotion that's available. Well, there's a solution, but a short-term one as that.
Yes. Wow.
which is why they're so addictive, because feeling is so scary.
Scary.
Wow. Well, talking about kids, like what I always do with my son, one of the biggest, I'm not going to say mistakes, but one of the biggest things that I wanted my parents to do with me was for them to show me feelings and explain me what feelings were. Because you're a babe, you come here, you don't know anything. So when I was my early 20s, I was not understanding what are those feelings coming. But if I had a father say, hey, this is frustration. I didn't know what frustration was since I was 19.
What?
I didn't have the word for the feeling. Does that make sense?
Wow.
Anxiety. I just found out what anxiety was when Chloe told me. I said, Chloe, what is anxiety? And she said, it's when sometimes you're feeling a bit heaviness on your chest. And I said, whoa, I already had this a lot of times, and now I know. When this, does that make sense? Like, so that's what I do with my son. I explain him feelings and how he has been feeling. And for sure, with who did I learn? Yeah.
It also
That was
shows
the
why
thing. I
like,
learned this a lot with you as a father.
But see how sometimes like fitting in can be just as much as understanding the information, right? You might feel so like lost in your round, but you might just not have the words or the little bits of information to help put those pieces together in your mind to make it make sense. Do you know what I mean? And that's where you can feel so lost in your own worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a labyrinth that you're in, and you just need to like have a couple of flashlights or turn the like put the candles on in a few spots so then you know how to get
Just
around
to follow
it.
it away. Yeah, I agree.
Corey, Mitch, I think I have thousands of hours sitting down and reading books, watching class. You guys have no idea what I had to go through in the law school, in my best private schools on earth, and having to be the number one, the pressure of the family. And I would throw everything away. All this for me, I see like, with all due respect, rubbish. In a way that what I learned with people when you have an open heart and you're part of a community that you're able to say, let's learn, let's grow together. So I'm telling, are the books important? For sure they are. But what is real important, real connection? Because today what I think is seeing, one of the things that I learned playing with Mitchell's son is that every single human, what they really want is quality time, unconditional love and attention, and be able to grow with you and to know that they are not alone.
Wow.
Think about, that's what I've been seeing about this, and I've been seeing and observing about planet Earth. You know what I mean? Everyone wants this in the end of the day. Everyone. So your partner is upset with you. Stop everything. Go give her 30 minutes quality time. Your son is complaining. Give them. And the best thing about being a human is that you can always shift, and you can always make someone that is in hate to love, that is in pain to be healthy. We have the ability. Light and love is the biggest force in the planet. Nothing's bigger than this, if you think.
I got a question for you, Dieg. And this is like a tricky one. How do you balance that with success?
Success is the person that you become. That's what I learned with, I thought so, man, I was a successful person for the world. I was already successful just in the family that I was born. Done. I could only stop. I'm already successful. Does that make, some people can be born successful. 89% of the wealthy people in the planet come from wealth families. People don't realize this. And the 11% of them, 80% of those 11% because they met one of those families. Does that make sense?
Wow.
And they got, so only 20% of the 11% of the people got wealth by the only terms. But this is what crypto and the new world is bringing, transfer of wealth.
Which is crazy. So if I was to ask a question, well, how do I get there then? Like, what would you say?
Success for me today is you need to learn who you are, where you want to go, and how you're going to go. And by this is only becoming the best version of yourself. I know a lot of people that work with me that I said, man, I know so many wealth, and I met famous people that they would change everything to have one day in this guy's body. And he works for me in my construction company. He's so content. And what is his mission? I say, buddy, what is your mission? My mission is to make the Australian, oh, look at this, man. The Australian house with a solid foundation. Because he's a concreter. So who... You think we're gonna go to a best place than him after here? We all evolving, and this is beautiful. So it's getting to know who you are, where you want to be, and and it's amazing. The person that you become. Mitchell knows a lot about success as well because you already achieved it. What is success? And I want you to answer as well. What do you think is? Because I'm sitting with two very successful men. You guys are doing really well in life.
It's your definition of it. It's not a stereotype.
Wow.
It's not. It's your definition of whatever success is to you. It's the personal design of your own life and pulling it off. If you design your life accordingly, love it, and pull it off till the day you die, success.
Wow.
Whether someone tells you or not.
And you, Corey, wow.
Well, I believe it's like pretty similar. I just articulate it differently. So
Yeah.
mine would just be like, it's just different words, but it's the exact same thing. It's like finding your purpose and living it.
Exactly.
And like, and for me, talking about the hero's journey before, is knowing your hero's journey, so you know what to do next, and then do it. Like,
Amen.
Wow.
Amen.
Which
Know
is
where
crazy.
you are and where to go. Wow.
And what about some of the hard things? You know, when people sort of get stuck in certain places, and you know, because I know that I'm assuming that you guys have had moments in your life where you've just felt stuck.
I think that's like the best sign ever, because where there's resistance, there's persistence. You know what I mean? When you get stuck, it's for a reason. Like, and I feel like I don't have a single moment of wisdom that hasn't come from pain. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like everything,
I knew
like
you were
every
gonna talk about
hard moment, hard thing that like has brought out a new side of me that I've been able to apply and use on something. So instead of focusing on the negative part of the being stuck, focus on how it's redirecting you. Where can this be showing me? Where is this pattern in my life? Where can I focus on myself as the issue and not try change the problem and become better here to try redirect? Do you know what I'm saying? Take a heap more accountability as yourself, and problems are there for you. Do you know what I mean? Like they're there to teach you. They're there to show you. And like whether you ignore it or not, it will pop up elsewhere. They're all the same. They show up in the same sort of patterns.
Okay, I was trying to like soak that in just then. Yeah, amazing. And like I couldn't, like my brain couldn't process it as just thinking about it. Because when you asked that question for me, like you guys both seem really successful, I had this moment where I was like, oh, well, I'm not successful.
Wow.
I know.
For sharing.
Wow.
It come
Corey, thank you for sharing.
I was like, what do you mean? Like I'm not successful.
And then your mind was distracted from from what was the conversation.
And then I could hardly like take it in. And I was like, well, how do I process this?
Well done, bro. Thanks for sharing
Yeah,
that.
because I've got all the things, like I help people achieve their own personal success. But at the moment, I was like, well, I'm stuck at the moment, which is like hard to do, like a personal thing, and I'm figuring out it's all mentally right now. I'm aware of it. I'm like, okay. So saying those things was crazy. So would you mind touching on those again?
Wow.
Bro, you
Go again.
so
Nicky.
that I could like
Thank you.
soak that in, so that I can
crazy is
take
now
the
I've
step
even
forward.
like lost off that flow, but bro, I just think like if you're stuck, man, it's for a positive reason. Do you know what I mean? Look at the lesson that it's trying to teach you. Even see if where you're stuck at has showed up in other areas of your life. Go back, see if it's a pattern. You know what I mean? And see if what you're going through now is even just a symptom or it's the root cause. You know what I mean? What you're feeling now might not even be the problem. It might be stemmed from so far back, and it's just been a pattern that's recurring, and you haven't healed that old problem with someone else or yourself, and it just keeps appearing in different versions in your day or in your life.
Yes.
I'm gonna have to go digging.
Go digging, bro. And because at the end of the day, it's a feeling, right? So when you're stuck, or when there's a reason that you feel that so deeply. It's because you care, right? So why do you care about it? Start to dig into those emotions and feelings and sit with yourself and ask.
It would be like, for me, it's like, and it's actually probably like around success as well, obviously, when you ask that question. So I was thinking about it, and for me, it would be, I want myself and the people around me to achieve so much and succeed so much so quickly that when I have a week of something just being like not growing, I panic.
And what is growth for you? How you measure the growth?
Well, at the moment in the business, it's firstly success of all the people in the program, but then it's the intake as well.
So are you looking at it as a whole? So are you saying that it's your problems are coming up in, say, business? Is this where your success or your block is
Probably
coming?
identifying success with business at the moment, because I have a successful relationship. I have emotional stability. I have a wild physique.
Your body.
So
Wow.
You literally just nailed it, bro.
Yeah.
You literally just nailed the answer. So when you get caught thinking of that, look at how successful you are, bro. You just told me 4 or 5 things that people would dream of having that are listening to this podcast. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
And I think, like, bro, like the gift of doing the work like you've done and having the knowledge, like I can hear it from the way that you're speaking. You know what I mean? You've got, like, you're educated in a way that you can understand information. So being able, like, it's and what you'll find is it's very easy to teach information. It can be quite hard to apply it. So when you start to apply the stuff that you learn, and look how capable you are, bro, of that, you know what I mean? I feel like it's just like little shifts in mindsets and focusing on more so what you've got than what you don't have, or the problem. And look how small that problem is in business. And you think about it. And when you look at the pillars, when you look at the pillars of life, you know what I mean? Like family, love, relationship, health, all that stuff.
That's so high.
So it's almost like it's a shift. And I found having a good anchor point in a friend, someone like that can bring you out of those moments and thoughts where you can find yourself tunneling, is also important. So that's why I also believe you can't do it yourself.
Wow.
I had there's so many things at the moment that are like trying to fall off. Like I've already had like 3 like things fall off my shoulders this podcast.
And I'm
already.
gonna
It's like,
wow, yes. Same here. Same here. Man. Same here, guys. And about business numbers, I'm gonna tell you what I felt to share with you, Corey, because I can share this in the podcast or from the podcast.
Perfect.
Numbers now. I'm gonna tell you as an Australian business, okay? You need to see first, you need to be very good in numbers in your company. You need to be able to identify by just looking for a few seconds where the money is going, how the money is coming in. Where the money is going, you're gonna have to say, is this really necessary? Is this bringing me profit? Is this really bringing me this? Because in business, you need to be ruthless with the numbers. Otherwise, not going to be able to achieve your potential. Because if there is someone here that also deserves to receive, and I'm giving to you now, Mitchell, please, a little bit to him. You receive millions of dollars, buddy. Receive millions of dollars. Change this planet with us. You know what I mean? So you need to, and also you need to be aware, like, how can I make money? Did you know, look where we live. The Queensland government, I'm sure your company will be there, is giving $15,000 by the end of the month by companies. So you should, after here, go in your computer, apply, and Queens is going to give you $15,000. And it's an extra $15,000 that I'm 100% sure going to change a lot of things in your business.
I love him.
isn't that insane, dude?
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about, having a strong anchor point. You know what I mean? Like people that you can trust, their opinions you can trust, the quality of their information and who they are. You know what I mean? Because it's like you can have sincere friends, but you can also be sincerely wrong. Do you know what I mean? They can be giving you sincere information, but can be sincerely wrong advice.
Thank you so much.
So true.
That's
Like
so
they can
incorrect,
care,
bro.
but it's so wrong. They're guiding you so wrong. They don't mean to, you know what I mean? But it's evidently wrong.
Yeah, that's so true, Dieg.
Only thing now, numbers. That's it. All the rest is done. Just numbers now. Being ruthless and good with numbers and being aware.
And even in the way that I live fluid, like I tell you, I'm always aware of my
very aware, buddy.
Always.
Mitchell, like before,
what goes in and what goes out, you have
6
to
months
know.
before that his bills are not paid. Just an example, something that he thinks, he's very because a father. He's not going to put his family in any situation. He has a responsibility.
They're the responsibilities of Earth. You cannot escape. And if you try to run from them, they just compound on you. And that's when you start getting down those bad rabbit holes, and you can't escape them. So,
because financial stress is like the number one stress, like in the world.
well, you're buying time. You know what I mean?
It's the number one case of divorce.
Yeah,
it's finance,
crazy.
money, and money doesn't even have a spiritual energy. If you think money's just here,
it's just an energy.
Know what I mean? Like just here with us. Know what I mean? Wow.
Well, how do you like get on top of it? What are the things that you do to make sure, as well as mindset, but as well as what are the things that you do to like?
You always have to have in your team people that are money driven, at least 2 or 3 that really are going to be driven by the numbers.
What about people who, let's say, don't have a team? Like, get one, or like
if
you are just like, I like if this is just
if you don't have a team,
right now, it's just like I want to get like really literate and sort that out. Like, what do I do? Handball's a question.
I really didn't like. Can you rephrase, please? Let's go again.
For someone who is at the stage of their life where they've just heard what we've talked about.
So say like a small business owner.
Yeah, small business owner.
They're the only employee. They're looking at, how can I benefit, use this information to benefit my business as a sole trader? What advice would you give them to crunch some numbers?
First of all, you need to have an account where every single money that come in needs to go to this account, as you already know that it's not your money. You need to understand what is your money and is not your money. If as a business owner, you need to understand that a lot of the money going to your account, it's not your money. So if it's not your money, put in the right place.
So true.
You know what I mean? Put in the right place. So that's what I think. So if it is your money, use. But then once you use your money, you need to be aware, because you need to save, you need to invest, you need to focus in your family and help out.
33% rule.
The 33% rule of the Jewish community. Like if you have $100, 33 you're gonna save and not even think about it. It's saved. You're not gonna touch.
Now too?
No, I'm the abundant frequency.
Yeah, he's an abundant.
We're the yin and yang.
We are yin yang.
I'd like to hear your opinion on this afterwards.
I love the way. So 32% saved, you don't think about it. 33% you're gonna invest. And what I'm doing now, I'm invest on me, on my company. I used to be invest.
33 saving, 33
invest. So you can make more money through this. You can take the risk. It can be in your business, can be in other business, can be, and the other 33%, in the other 33%, you're gonna enjoy, pay your normal, like you're gonna do everything that you have to do, like investing. So that's all they do.
I think most of our generation skip the invest step.
Yeah,
They invest.
Oh yeah.
Investing's like,
Or some people only save.
I love the one bank account thing too. I did that recently where all income goes to one bank account, and it's like, oh, it's just so good to see income on top of it. Oh my God.
Yes, exactly.
being on top of that stuff is whether you think like, as in whether you want to live abundantly, regardless, like if you feel comfortable with your situation, that it's always a better feeling. Do you know what I mean? So put in the time, put in the work to and as you said, like, yeah, there's always little things that you can do, change and take responsibility personally. Yes, you can sit there and blame the conditions and the environment around you, and it won't ever get better. But if you blame yourself in it and see what you can do to fix it, slowly and surely, consistently, you'll get somewhere. Eventually.
Wow.
100%. And now I'd like you to talk about your mindset in terms of abundantly. Because people are going to resonate differently in terms of...
As I said, personal philosophy is like, I believe in this time, like, of life and where I'm at now. My goal in life is just to keep progressing and getting better every single day. And with that, all of the opportunities will align and come to me. And I also believe, on terms of that's money coming in, right? All that money coming in, I basically invest because I don't want to work for it. You know what I mean? So I want my assets to work for me. I don't want to be working forever. So my goal of life has always been spend the first half of my life accumulating money and then the second half giving it away to people that I love, care about, impact.
Corey, can we please? Wow.
I think that's so noble as well. Like, because it's so not talked about or done. Like in many cases or anywhere. Like, there's one thing that I find very noble about my old man is he was just like, whenever you need, it's just like, here.
Same, so's my dad. My dad is the most generous person, always has been, always will be.
Your father's very generous.
So generous.
I already see him buy a lot of fish and chips. Yes! He's very generous, man.
Yeah.
There wouldn't be one person.
Yes.
Yeah, I feel so in common. Like, generally, like, my old man's the most generous person I've ever met. And, which is like awesome.
I think our dads would both be very proud if they listened to this podcast to
they
hear that
would
about them. So well done, dads. That's a very noble quality.
It is.
And you know what it is? It's a faithful quality. Think about it.
It is.
My father is also an amazing man that
we got blessed with our parents, man.
It is.
So good.
Man, my father is very funny. My memories with my father is someone 14, 15 hours a day on a computer working. You know what I mean? Like, it was very hard to work, and he did his very best for me, and that's how I see. And one of the big things as a man that made me where I am today is understanding that my father and my mother and everyone around me, my family, loved me with their best.
Yes.
And this changed everything in my life too.
Tools that they had at the time.
Yes, and they're amazing. I'm very grateful.
And then we get to take them to another
That's
level.
it. And it's up to us to run with them.
Yeah, imagine the next generation, Corey. Imagine your son walk with mine and all. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. Just back to, I do think it's extremely noble quality to be in that position as well. Like, how good would that make you feel just to be able to go, oh, here.
It's the dream, bro. Especially to the people, right, that you literally care. Like, you know, your mum, your dad, your brother, your sister. Imagine being able to unlock those stresses away from it, and it's no skin off your back. You know what I mean? You're not leveraged in the situation, because leverage is what creates stress. When you're leveraged and you don't, it's just like it's a buildup of anxiety.
Yes. I give money to my mom all the time, and she doesn't eat, but she loves. Like, it's amazing.
Enjoy, mum.
Yeah, my mom loves. My mom.
She doesn't need, but she loves.
Like, it's not. I understand what you guys. Let's talk. What do you think we're gonna be at in 1 year? I would like to one day watch this video. See, what do you think you're gonna be in 1 year, Mitch Orval, Corey Botwell? Is that how you say your name?
Boutwell, yeah, you nailed it. Actually, yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. In 1 year time, you're gonna watch 1 year time. What is happening?
I think
in
I'll
your
definitely
life?
be still living my purpose in mentoring people and getting close with individuals that are doing their part in the world and building in the same direction as myself.
Wow, Corey.
I had actually this thought not long ago, because I actually asked this question, where are you now? And I was just like, exactly what I'm doing, but just like 10x.
Wow.
Because I can. Like, for no other reason than other than I can. Yeah.
Remember, numbers have no feelings. 10 times what?
I like that. I like that, Deej.
Corey, cannot wait to see you. Cannot wait to see you, man, be able to impact everyone around with millions of dollars. And be able to create a reality, a beautiful reality with your family, with your kids, with your father. Taking your father to Europe. You should take him to Italy. He's gonna love that. It's amazing. I love seeing people. It's one of the things that I love the most, that wanna have more money. Money is not a curse, guys. Every Australian, money is a blessing. You know what I mean? I don't know what. Do you know what I mean? Money is a blessing. It's not. It's amazing. Wow. It's not bad at all. There's one thing bad about money. The love for money, what we do with money, this is bad. That's what makes it bad. So I love seeing people that want to have the money, and I see, wow, they have such a kind heart. Because I see so many people with money, they don't have a kind heart. And I said, well, when you have kind, and this is what I think, the new men and women stepping in this new place that we are creating a new place. We are creating a new place, starting here, starting there. Everyone is. It's kindness. And those people are going to be having so much money very soon. And I'm so excited to see what you're going to do. I'm excited. Imagine if we had now 1,000 people in the Gold Coast that have millions of dollars, and they're all going to invest to change and to do generous things. And what do you think is going to happen in 1 month in this town? Know what I mean?
It's crazy.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
So crazy. Well, I'd like to give the listeners, right now, as we'll wrap it up right now, I'd like to give the listeners one challenge or action to take, like after this podcast, to go through that they can do today, next week, this month, whatever it is. What would you like to challenge them to do to move forward after listening to this podcast?
Say do something that makes you uncomfortable, right? And I guarantee you'll have one less problem in your day that normally pops up. And then the next day, do something a bit harder and see if that day then gets easier. And I guarantee you'll get addicted to that pattern of life.
Let's give them like 3 or something, like a couple of examples that you think.
Go for a run if you don't run. Go in the sauna.
With Mitch is so hard to go for a run.
Like just anything, okay, here's how to do it. If you're listening to this, what's something you'd hate to do right now? Go do that. Discipline's finding something that you hate and doing it like you love it.
Wow, that is so true, man. Wow.
So find that, whatever you don't want to do that's going to create a bit of I'm not going to, even if it's clean the car or do that, go do it. And watch you feel better about yourself after.
Book it in. Deej?
Life is extremely short. Look, our life here in the way that it's going now, it's going to finish in this way. Look, done. So the hardest decision that you have in your life right now is the only one you have to make, and you need to be brave enough to be able to make this decision, because after this brave move that you make, it's going to be heaven waiting for you.
Heaven on earth, baby.
Heaven on earth,
Heaven
my
on
man.
earth.
Heaven on earth. Corey, thank you.
Thanks for having us, bro.
Guys,
Wow.
thank you so much. This is the best.
What a pod.
This was wow. Wow.
Hell
We
yeah,
went to
baby.
wow.